Welcome to the introduction to Capture the Flag. I'm Fabian, and this is John. We're both from Control Plane, and we'll be running the Capture the Flag session tomorrow. So today we have two introduction sessions for folks who are new to CTF or just want to catch up how this particular one works. We have this one now, and we have one in the afternoon at 2:45, I want to say. I can check the schedule in a little bit. We have it on the slides. But yeah, first a bit about us. So we are Control Plane. We're running the CTF events at KubeCon for quite a while now. Forever, it feels like. We're a security consultancy, so we're headquartered in London, UK, but we have folks all over the globe. So John is based here in the US. I'm based in Germany. And yeah, we help clients figure out their security, primarily around like government and financial, heavily regulated industries. Cool. So yeah, we think that Capture the Flag is a great way for you as like practitioners or engineers or folks who are interested in security to sharpen their skills, right, to get into this. And this helps us like build expertise across the industry. So yeah, as I said, the schedule. So we are right now in the topmost session 11:15, and there's another one at 2:30. I almost got that right. It'll be also here in this room. I'm not sure if you noticed, but the Wi-Fi in here is kind of poor, and we would need Wi-Fi tomorrow for you to play and participate in the Capture the Flag event. We are on the case. We try to improve the Wi-Fi in here. We will post updates on the Slack channel, or somehow reach out to you. But definitely come here tomorrow at 11 a.m. if you want to participate in the Capture the Flag event. Yeah, we will let you know if there are some other plans. I don't know if we need to switch the room or something. All right. The Capture the Flag consists of 3 different scenarios, right? We will basically provide you with a vulnerable Kubernetes cluster for you to attack, and then find flags, which are basically the proof that you were able to solve the challenge. And these scenarios were built by these 2 great engineers at Control Plane. So Andrea and Gabriella, they're not here today, but I still wanted to give a shout out to them for building the scenarios you will be playing tomorrow. All right. Yeah, what to expect? How does it work? So I also already mentioned Slack. So please, if you're not yet, join the CNCF Slack. There's a KubeCon-NA-CTF-25 channel, and join that channel. As I said, I will use that to post updates on the Wi-Fi, but we will also use this to coordinate and basically give you access to a vulnerable Kubernetes cluster. So there is nothing you have to run on your machine. The only thing that is required from your side is a web browser and SSH. If you have that, you're good to go. How does it work? So we are also in this channel. You can DM us or post in that channel and basically request an SSH bundle. So that's a SSH config and a key, and then you're able to connect to your personal instance. It's just for you to mess around with and solve the challenges in. We will provide you with 1 bundle per scenario, right? We will give out the first one in the morning. That's an easy scenario. And once you solve that, there are 3 flags per scenario. If you found all 3, you can basically come back to us and request access to the medium and finally to the hard challenge. All right. And yeah, the flags itself, they are formatted in this particular way, right? They're always like flag_CTF and then some long string in parentheses. So this is what you should be watching out for. The flag? Yeah. It could be anywhere. It could be the name of a pod, a log statement, inside a Kubernetes config map or secret. Could be hidden anywhere. All right. Any further questions on how we're running this? All right. This is basically your information hub for the CTF. So everything I explained, you will find on that GitHub page. I will leave this up for a minute. And there you have everything. It has like the SSH command on how to use the SSH key and so on, the bundle. It explains again how to find the flags and what to do with it. All right, I will put up the QR code in the end. So for everyone who was not able to scan it, you will have another chance. But what I want to do is basically give you a quick rundown on how the CTF will work tomorrow. We ran the CTF last time in KubeCon India, and I will basically take the rest of the session now to run you through one of the scenarios and basically show you how it works, give you the solution from the previous Capture the Flag event. All right, so what you will receive is one of these bundles, as I said. So this is a tar GZ file. You can unpack it. And then if we switch to that folder, you can see you have 3 different files in there: the config, the known host file, and the private key. And with that, you will be able to connect to the instance. Good stuff. All right. It will greet you with a bit of flavor text, just for flavor, but also it hides some important clues. So I will highly recommend to you to read the introduction and watch out for any interesting bits and pieces. In this particular scenario, it's all about like Grafana and logs and metrics. We're using Victoria metrics in this particular instance, and they are exposing the web front ends. So you need to use like port forwarding as part of the SSH command, so you will be able to reach those web UIs on your local machines, right? So we can see Grafana is running inside this cluster, and we can see that Victoria metrics is also running inside the cluster. All right, let's start and dig around a bit, right? So welcome to Grafana. First thing we try is like admin. It's the first thing I always do when I see a web UI with a login. Doesn't work. All right, would have been too easy. All right, next one. Let's see what's up in the Kubernetes cluster. So if we list all the resources and all the namespaces, we can see there's some stuff deployed, right? There's a backend namespace. It's probably hosting some sort of like API or business service. Then there's Cert Manager. Grafana we already mentioned. Kube system, we'll glance over that. And then finally, we have Victoria logs and Victoria metrics. So since we were blocked from accessing Grafana, let's have a look at just the Grafana namespace. Right. So we can see here there's a lot of stuff that is forbidden to us, right? This is Kubernetes RBAC in action, so we're not allowed to query all the information. But there's one nice thing about the Kube API server, which is that you can basically ask it like, hey, what are my permissions? What is my power in this particular namespace or in the cluster? So you can use this auth cani command to find out how powerful you are. Cool. So this is limited to the Grafana namespace, and we can see we are allowed to list namespaces, pods, secrets, and services. Right? Get, watch, list. So very nice. We're allowed to get, watch, and list secrets. That sounds juicy. Promise I can type. Grafana get secrets. Awesome. You can see there are 2 secrets actually. So Grafana and Promptail, and 2 Helm secrets we will just glance over for now. So let's see what the Grafana secret contains. Sweet, and here we can see the admin password and the admin user are right there in the secret for us, and we do have access to it. So these are base64 encoded. You can just dump them out and use the base64 command line tool to basically unpack whatever is inside. And here we can see we found the first flag, which is also the admin password of the Grafana instance. Right. What you're supposed to do with this is go to another web service, which is called CTFD.io. So this is all explained on that web page behind the QR code that I mentioned to you earlier. This is what we're using basically as our scoreboard to track how many flags you have found. So these are the challenges for tomorrow. Call me maybe, live timing, and landlord. But you will basically click on the respective challenge, put in the flag, and you will get some some number of points. We will have the live scoreboard here, so you can compete whoever is fastest to find all of these flags. Cool. Any questions so far? The general gist of it before I run through flag 2 and 3. Cool. And use our flag for the password, and we're into Grafana. All right, let's take a look at the other system we have at hand, right? Victoria Metrics. So again, this is a system to scrape metrics. It provides us also with a web UI, but this time there doesn't seem to be a password to protect it. And we can also ask Victoria Metrics about the scraping targets. Oh, and here we can see there's an issue, right? The scraping metric, the scraping endpoint to get the metrics is down apparently. And if we squint real hard, oh, someone already spotted it. Anything? Yes, there's a typo in backend, right? The E is here instead of the A. So someone messed up and typoed that. So now the web scraping is broken. All right. Let's do the same stuff we did earlier. So we can now use the can_I list command again to see what we can do in the Victoria Metrics namespace to maybe fix this issue. And lucky for us, there are config maps, and we are allowed to do a whole lot of stuff with the config maps, including updating the config map. Cool. So let's have a look at the config map. Oh, these are all. All right, there are two different config maps. If we just have a look at the one that is called scrape config. And we can see indeed there's a target called backend and then backend with the typo in it. If we have another look at the scraping config, we also see there's a basic auth password and username. So we might want to remember that and store that for later. Let's fix the target first though. All right, instead of doing get, we're doing edit. And oh no, we don't have an editor. All right, luckily for you, we have a Debian-based image for you as a starting point. So you can use apt to install more tools into your pod to attack the cluster at hand. I think you have like a gig of memory or something like that. So you're not able to like download the whole internet and like run everything at once. But like feel free to use apt and download whatever you need to continue through the challenge. This is an outdated example, so it prints out the warning that should not be happening for the challenge tomorrow. So all right, let's install an editor. Cool. And then we're able to edit the config map and fix the typo. Right, here we can see it's updated. So let's go back to Victoria Metrics. And Victoria Metrics has another endpoint, which is called /reload, which we can use to reload the configuration. And then if we go back to targets, it should take a minute or two for it to update, but then we should be able to see that the scraping is back online. So this would be a perfect time for questions, just to fill the silence of us waiting for it to update. Yeah, go ahead.
Instead of installing Vim, we could use a patch as well?
Yeah, be creative. Whatever is in your skill set and at your hands, there are so many ways to solve these challenges, and this is definitely on purpose.
What are the common problems that you see other than like bad RBAC?
Aside, not just for the CTF, but in general out there.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, RBAC is definitely one of the big ones, just providing too many permissions to too many people. Like, we see a lot of folks that run like GitOps tools like Flux, for example, to deploy to their clusters, but at the same time, they also provide like write access to their whole stuff and developers, which kind of conflicts, right? And you have drift and this sort of stuff. I think if you're covering the basics, you're doing really good. Like, control your network access, like inbound and outbound traffic, right? Use ingress and egress definitions. You can do like Cilium network policies to tie that down even further. And just having up-to-date software, like this is a bigger challenge than you realize for many folks out there. I don't know if John wants to add anything to like top whoopsies out there. Come on. Do I just need to ask it to reload again? There we go. All right, so it's up. So it should now be able to scrape metrics. By the way, just yell at me if I miss a question. I'm looking at the screen. There's the query you need to build. So it's basically asking, like, give me all the metrics from the backend service. And if we execute that query, we see nothing. Come on, there we go. And as one, is that big enough? I can also like increase the font. Yeah, and so one of the metrics that was scraped from the service contains the flag. So you note that down, put that in CTFD, and you got, I don't know, 30 more points. Good stuff. All right, lastly, we said we also have Victoria logs. So this is the third place we might want to look at. So let's see what's happening in there. Oh, so again, we see we cannot list all the resources, right? We are able to list the pod and we are able to list the service definition, but we're not able to list all of the other resources in that namespace. So let's try to be a bit creative, right? We know that Victoria logs is running, and we know that we have Grafana at hands. So how about we just integrate the two? Because we were able to log in as admin, might as well make use of that access. Cool, there's a plugin in Grafana for Victoria logs. So if we install that plugin, there we go. And then we can add this as a data source. And we need to provide the URL for it. So if you go into your Kubernetes cluster, if you remember, there was a service called exactly this, right? Victoria logs a single server and so on. So from that on, we can basically build the endpoint we want to give to Grafana to connect to it. So we can save and test that. Cool, this is working. So we can now explore whatever logs are produced by that pod. And maybe I skipped over that. Victoria logs. So usually when you have pods, right, you can get the logs from the pods via kubectl, but this time, like via RBAC, this is prevented for us, right? So we basically sidestep this and like get the pod logs by using Victoria metrics. So what we want to do this time is basically attack this or have a look at this backend pod that was running inside the cluster. And if we query it, we can see that it produces some logs. Maybe we need to change the time frame. So I've spun up that scenario in the morning before breakfast, so it's running for a while. So if we adjust the time frame, we can see there's one warning, one log with a warning. And we can see that this backend service was queried on the orders endpoint, and it printed a warning, flag is malformed. So this sounds interesting. Now we basically need to find a way to query this order endpoint and see what it's up to. Making a long story short, if you try to use apt to install curl and then curl that endpoint, you will find out that you're not able to access it directly from curl from the pod you're running in. But rather, again, we need to be a bit creative and utilize the access we have in Grafana. So in Grafana, there's yet another plugin. So if you are not familiar with Grafana, you should really look into it. It's like almost as powerful as Jenkins plugins. There's like Turing complete shit to achieve whatever. You can probably build your backend in Grafana at this point. So there's a plugin called Infinity, which lets you like curl arbitrary stuff. It's like cool for a security person. This is like the dream. So yeah, if we use this Infinity plugin, we can configure it and then basically use it to query the backend service where we don't have access to. So if you remember back when we had a look at the config map earlier, we saw that we had some basic auth credentials. So these will come in handy now. We can basically put them in here. And we can save and test. Oh, and we can see that it complains because like this is basic auth and this is not secure. Like please also add a trusted host. All right. Backend on port 3000. Are we good now? Cool. So we can now go explore and basically use this weird plugin to do arbitrary requests to endpoints. So as I said, HTTP, we had backend on port 3000, and then we basically want to query that order endpoint. Are you doing stuff? There we go. And there's our third flag, right? So we queried the order endpoint. We got information about this particular order. And as part of that, we can see that it has the flag, and we can put it into CTFD to finally solve all three challenges. Yeah?
Why do you have to go through Grafana instead of just doing curl-8 authentication?
Yeah, you can try this here, but it's basically black hole. So there's no routing for you to access this backend pod from the host you create a pod. Yeah, maybe that's possible. I mean, as I said, like there are multiple solutions. If you're able to create a pod and basically query the backend from that, you would also be able to find this flag. I think Gabriella also left another hint for me. So what Gabriella did was like she reconfigured Victoria metrics to not scrape the metrics endpoint, but scrape the order endpoint. And then you have like the output of the order in the metrics, which is like not what you do as an ops guy, but it works as an attacker. So yeah, many ways to solve this. Cool. Any other?
Is the scenario tomorrow also pretty Grafana heavy?
No. Okay. Do you know, John?
No.
I can figure that out for you. So we usually have a mix of like just basic Kubernetes, right? So like, I don't know, RBAC or like Kubernetes resources. But then we also like to branch out into like one or two cloud native tools just to like widen your horizon on like what's possible. We had challenges around like cert manager, around like, I don't know, secrets operator, and like lots of stuff. All right. Any more questions? Yeah. Otherwise, if you're more comfortable like asking questions in private, feel free to approach me or approach John. We will be around the conference today in this room in particular, and then all day here tomorrow. So thanks for joining, and see you tomorrow. Yeah.